Welcome back. We are back on the vlog, and today we're changing things up. We're sitting down with one of the fastest growing entrepreneurs in the Knoxville market to help bring value to you guys. So let's get into it. Welcome back, guys. If you're new here or if you've seen our vlogs before, I'm Tyler Owens, top Knoxville real estate broker. And today I'm sitting down with my buddy Mike, who's one of Knoxville's fastest growing entrepreneurs. Mike, why don't you go ahead and tell him who you are?
What's going on, everybody? My name's Mike Namoff. I own Elevated Media Co. We are a real estate media company here in Knoxville, Tennessee. We got started back in August of 2023. Over this last 2.5 years, we've had some explosive growth. The team has grown. We've now been kind of doing more media, not only with real estate, but kind of expanding our horizons, local business owners, and things like that. So that's a quick little recap about me.
Awesome, awesome. So when you decided you were gonna get into media, you started this in 23, right?
Yes, August, yep. Kind of like July 2023 is when I first kind of like made the big jump.
Okay, and you hadn't done media at all at that point?
No, so completely zero experience. No background in videography, no background in real estate, in photography by any means. Kind of had a crazy kind of story about how that all got started.
Yeah, so you were in Champaign,
Illinois, University of
And then
Illinois.
you just randomly picked Knoxville.
Yep, so was from a college town, was looking for a place to start the business. Always liked Tennessee, and I remember one day someone randomly brought up Knoxville to me, and when I was looking to move, I literally picked it on the map. I signed my lease, never been here before, was like, I hope this is a nice area. Packed it up and shipped it down here. No friends, no family, and just to get the business started.
So I want people to know, you went from managing a bar, right? Yeah. How did you go from managing a bar to want to get into media?
So I was managing a big bar for about 3 years. Was actually signed a job, a full-time job at a really high-end restaurant downtown Chicago. The company flew me up to the city, housed me. I signed this job for a good salary. I was locked and loaded with all my friends, all my family. They were all up there. Signed it, and I had this kind of change of life kind of hit me. And I figured, I was like, I'm about to move to the city and kind of start this career. And I always wanted to be an entrepreneur. I had that itch for my whole life. And I was like, this is my moment. I can always move to the city. I can always, get a corporate job, go do this, work at a restaurant. And I was like, this is my moment. And I was that kid I was the drop shipping kid. I was the flipping cars, flipping anything I could. So I was always following all of the influencers, all of the people that had these online businesses. And believe it or not, I bought a course online. I bought a guru in believe it or not, everything from real estate media. I went all in on his course.
Did you find that on like social media?
So I found him from social media. He makes Instagram videos about and teaches people how to shoot real estate media. I liked the business model. I liked his content. I liked how it was repeat clients. And I called my employer in Chicago, quit the job, spent all my savings, bought all the camera gear, and picked it up and moved to Knoxville, Tennessee to get it started.
Are you able to tell the people what your job offer was?
For how much?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, how much was it?
I was signed, I think, probably about $120,000 salary after bonuses.
So you gave up $120,000 salary to go start a business that you had no idea what you were doing.
No idea what I was doing. So I literally, it was $100,000 a year salary with about a $20,000 bonus.
That's crazy.
And yeah, I remember the feeling. It was like a heart sinking feeling. And I remember I called my parents. I was like terrified to even tell my parents. I called my dad. I was like, Dad, I turned down the job. And what was so funny is I did this all before I told them. And I signed my lease before I told them. So I said, I quit the job.
You had no plan B.
There was no plan B. There was no plan B. And that's a big reason why I am here, where I'm at today, is just because I truly went all in. I had no plan B. I was in a new city, no connections. You had to just make it happen.
Yeah, no, so when I decided to get into real estate, this is like the weakest way I feel like anybody could get in. Yeah. I was working at Walmart, sitting on my couch, playing Fortnite, and I literally Googled, I said, how can I make a lot of money with very little work? Yeah. The laziest thing you could do. Yeah. Believe it or not, real estate was #1.
And what year was this?
This was in 2017.
Okay.
2017, and I Googled it, popped up, and I was like, dude, I could do that. I'm selling Tic Tacs at Walmart. Surely I can sell houses. So I decided, all right, I'm gonna do this. no idea what I was doing, but I just Googled, got online. I wound up buying my classes. It was 3 weeks in person. I fell asleep every day. My professor at the end of those 3 weeks came to me and he was like, I just want you to know, I don't think you're going to make it in this industry.
Yeah.
And he honestly should have been right.
This is your professor.
This is the professor for the 3 weeks with the real estate classes.
Okay.
Yeah. But this guy was also sitting at Food City. I ran into him one time and he had a newspaper and a fifth of liquor sitting in the parking lot of Food City. So, but I did that. I got my license. And then when I went to actually figure out how am I going to do this, I went 8 months with no sale.
Wow.
Because I just didn't know what I was doing.
Yeah, right.
Then I got a really good mentor, and I was in college at this time, and I was.
And you're full time in real estate doing nothing, right? Well, not making any sales.
No, I was in college.
You're in college.
So this is how I
see.
leveraged it. When I was in college, I actually wound up going to college because I had to pay my rent. So I found a little hack that I went to the University of Tennessee.
Yep.
And I found this little hack that I applied for so many scholarships that I would get overage every semester. So they paid all my tuition, all my fees and everything, and then they would deposit in my account anywhere from like $1,500 to $4,000 every semester. That's what I used to pay my rent, pay my bills, paid my real estate courses, and then it also paid part of my dues at the last real estate company I was at. So I went like 8 months in that time frame. After getting licensed, no sale.
Wow.
And then my first 3 sales didn't even equate to $100,000 in value. I sold a $20,000 house. It was a $31,000 house, then like a $34,000 house.
Probably still felt good though.
Dude, I made like, well, the
what?
first was a referral. The $20,000 deal was a referral. So I think when it was all said and done, I didn't even make $200.
Yeah, right.
But I was over the moon. I was like, dude, I did it. I can sell a house.
This is real now.
It was real.
Yeah.
It was real in that moment.
Real.
And I just kept thinking to myself, man, if I can get good at this, if I can just keep going, if I can figure it out, I think I could make a career out of it.
Yeah.
So long story short, get all the way through college, and I didn't focus on like building the business, but how could I find a way to make money in real estate? And so what I did is actually work for some of Knoxville's top real estate investors, and I helped framework their system for how they were analyzing homes. So we would go through and analyze anywhere from like 5 to 10 properties a night for them. And when we were doing that, over the course of 3 years, I wound up looking at 4,000 homes for them.
Yeah.
So I got really good at how to run comps, how to analyze the market, what sub-markets were doing better. So when I finished college, I took all of that into how I was going to broker my business.
Right.
So when people would call me and they would say, hey, I want to buy this house, renovate it, and fix it up. What do I do? That's what I was the expert in the beginning.
Yeah.
I just knew how to advise people.
Right, because you looked at so many deals already.
I've been doing it.
Yeah, you've been doing it.
And so after I kind of got started in that, then it was, now I'm on my own. I'm not working for this investor anymore. I got to go sell houses just to pay my bills.
Yeah.
And so that was like the first year that I was like, okay, I gotta learn this. I gotta do it.
Yeah. And what year was that? So you started in 17.
Finished college in 2020.
2020.
Yeah. So, and then 2021 was my first full year, and people were like, oh, well, anybody could have sold anything. I sold 43 houses that year.
Yeah.
I was making more out of college than
what led up to that moment. And
right. Everything.
Because if you jumped into the industry at that moment, you wouldn't have that previous knowledge to even do that.
Dude, the amount of people too that in that time they were like, you just got lucky.
Yeah.
You got put in a good position.
Yeah.
A lot of people tried to leverage because my wife's dad started this company and our real estate brokerage. And a lot of people thought because I was family that it made it easier. And I couldn't stress people enough. It made it so much harder because there was this expectation that you will not get something just because you're related. You got to go earn it.
You got to go earn it.
So all my business, I just went and started earning. And I worked at every lead like it was my last one. There was no stop. I didn't care if you were buying a $10 million home or renting for $1,000 a month. Like I was going to get it done.
Yeah.
And I spent all that time just trying to figure it out.
Yeah. I just think it's so cool. You know, I meet a lot of business owners. I talk with a lot of different business owners. I talk with a lot of other successful media companies. I get to see other successful agents. And it doesn't matter what industry you're in or what business you start. I just think what's so cool is the success story is all very much the same. If you just work and you actually go all in on one thing with no distractions, it's crazy what can happen. And people always ask me, and how did you do it? And what was the thing? And it's never a sexy answer. It's you just gotta not be afraid to just do it and go for it and try. And that's a similar story. You had the same thing I had by just putting in the work in and going for it and going all in. It's just cool to see. In any industry, it's the same story. Yeah. So people that are looking to do this, I want them to hear your story of you picked up, you moved to Knoxville, then what? What did that look like? So I vividly remember I was on my, so when I bought this course, quit my job, bought the course, got all the camera gear, my first shoot ever, I was doing my parents' house. And I kicked them all out of the house because I'm like terrified. I literally have never hit a shutter button on camera. I have no idea what I'm doing. And I crashed my drone instantly on my first flight at my house into my parents' tree, break it. And I'm shooting this house, and I'm not joking. I had this sinking feeling hit me of like, what did I just do? And I was about to call my coach and say, I don't know what I did. I shouldn't have done that, and ask for a refund. I was this close. And I got through it, and I was like, I'm all in now. So I had this feeling of, well, one, I needed that feeling, and why I love coaching and why I think it worked for me. It gave me that skin in the game. I had to have a little bit of, I was like, I'm going down to Knoxville and making this money. Now I had no choice. So when I got here, I remember I had about 3 months before I officially moved. After I made the announcement, I was finishing up my contract at my last job. I was shooting home. I was going in people's neighborhoods in Illinois and filming houses in neighborhoods and acting like I was shooting them. And I was posting on the Elevated Media account, and it got people's attention that I started picking up business before I was here.
So were you shooting inside people's homes?
Oh no, I was just filming around neighborhoods.
Just around neighborhoods?
Around neighborhoods in Illinois.
I didn't even know that.
Yeah,
now.
around
so you
neighborhoods in
filmed
Illinois.
outside people's houses in neighborhoods, posted it as if you were taking the media.
Yeah, but I just had this mentality. I was like, I'm doing it whatever it takes.
That's a nugget right there.
Whatever
People
it
want to
takes.
complain about, I don't know what to do.
Yeah.
I don't have any business. You had no business.
No.
But
I wasn't
you just
even
went
there
and
yet.
you went and made it look like you had business.
Exactly.
And that's what started the catapult.
And that's what started the catapult. I started in Illinois just filming neighborhoods and posting it and posting on our stories. And people were like, is this in Knoxville? Where is this house? and I remember I made a random trip here because I had to go shoot a couple homes. So, and as I got that snowball rolling and I was calling and DMing and texting, that I remember the first day I moved in, I'm moving in, my parents are moving me into my apartment, and I was out shooting. That same day, the first day I landed in Knoxville, was out shooting. So it just started from, me being terrified, where I was like, wow, I'm gonna move here and I don't know what I'm gonna do. So that's really how I got that ball started.
So that was in 2023.
Yes.
That was right when we met. That was a couple months later.
Probably a couple months later.
Yeah, I remember the first time you shot it was over the winter.
Yep.
And you called me and you're like, dude, I'm so sorry, I'm running late. I don't know these roads.
I remember.
And I was like, not a big deal, man. We're just hanging out here.
Yeah, I remember.
I came
racing in.
Yes, I'll tell you what set you apart in my head. We had, my wife took photos of our listings for a long time because she was good with iPhone editing.
Yeah.
And all these photographers could not edit houses.
Yeah.
They couldn't do it.
Right.
So Caroline's iPhone, I tested it one time. I had Caroline take photos, edit them, and then I had a photographer take photos, edit them, and I gave them to the client. I said, which photos do you prefer? Caroline beat them.
And they beat them.
So
you can justify it.
Yeah. So Caroline used it time after time. And then when she got pregnant, we started using different photographers, and the photos, they were okay, but it was the experience there.
Yeah.
When you got to that first house, I remember you came in, you threw on shoe booties. You were like, I'm sorry, I'm late, I'm getting to work. You walked right past me and you start lifting every blind up, opening every curtain, and you're just detailed. And I'm like, what is this guy doing?
Yeah.
It's like, I've never seen it. And then I'm following suit. I'm like, okay, well, I better get the
before you know it, you're jumping in.
I'm jumping in. Yeah. And I was like, okay, this is next level.
Different.
It was like everybody else was here, and immediately within 15 seconds, you were up here.
Yep.
And so I talk about how you went from, you obviously brought that in yourself.
Yeah.
But 24 is when you started, you had people reach out to you, right? To come work for you.
Oh, yeah, all the time.
Because you didn't reach out first. They reached out to you. Is that right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
So talk about that transition. How did that happen?
This is employees?
Yes. When you started growing the company, because obviously you had this high service level.
Yeah.
But then you brought other people in that reached out to you. What did they see? How did you start building the framework for bringing on employees to start growing?
Yeah. So I think first to hit on, like, it's funny you said the experience, because that's literally the number one. That's like what I preach to our entire company. Like, and when I'm on stage speaking to other media owners, that's the number one thing, is the client experience. And I think I realized this very early when I was about 3 or 4 months into the business in Knoxville, and I had this realization where I took it from a much different approach, and a lot of my competitors were taking it from a creative angle, and they were not business owners. And I was dealing with realtors. And when you come in and you walk and you talk and you look like them and you speak their language, you instantly become super different versus a photographer coming in worried about settings or too worried about the media. So that client experience was, it's just huge. You have to be able to come in with a presence, with a mission, whether that's directing them on camera, coming in, moving things around. And I realized about 3 months in, I was like, I'm gonna just crush everyone in this industry because my competitors were not on that level. And that client experience is everything. But then fast forward, I think January was when I made my first hire. And they reached out to me, and we've kind of built this brand. And that's the power really of social media, is we've built this brand now that, you know, people want to work for a company. I think we have a great culture. We shoot a lot of amazing homes and we work with great people. And that energy, that same experience, that same energy attracted really good talent. And then just, putting your heart and soul into them and training them. A big thing that I always did, I didn't hire experience. I don't hire every single one. We have, now 6 full-time photographers. None of them have had experience in the past.
Really?
It's been completely just like me. I started with 0 and we trained our way up there. So I actually prefer people with no experience.
Because you don't have to unteach them stuff.
I don't have to unteach them stuff. I hire someone with the soft skills and I train them the technical side, because I can't teach someone and coming in and taking over and opening up the windows and shaking your hand and having great energy is much harder to teach, but I can teach someone how to set a camera up on a tripod and take good photos.
Yeah.
So I hired based on that rather than the technical side.
Josie was your first hire.
Josie was our first hire. Yeah.
Implanted in my mind is the creek video that we shot on Creek View. We got to that house and I told Josie, I said, here's my vision for what I'm going to do. I'm going to get in this yellow duck tube and I'm going to get in the creek and float down and you can walk along the bank and film me. And I turn around and start talking to my assistant at the time. And I turn back around. Josie's in the water. Her shoes and socks were off. Her pants were hiked up. She had them up to her knee and she's standing in the water. She goes, this water's cold if you're ready. And I said, shit, I didn't know you were getting in there.
That's like your first impression, and a very similar impression
with first time I met her. That was the first. And I said, this girl's next level. And I've thought about every single time that one is. I've tried to express that to people, because when people ask me like, oh, who shoots your media? I'm like, Elevated, the brand. It's not Mike. It's not. It's the brand shoots the media. And what I tell people is, because they'll ask me like, who's coming? And I'm like, to be honest with you, I don't know who's showing up. But I know the company that's showing up, and they're all the exact same. They're creative. They're fun. They're respectful. They work hard. They want to do what's great. And that's just what I've seen from the outside. And I think, people ask this question a lot. That's the hardest thing in probably any industry. How do you find good people? And I think I've had really good success in it. I get asked this question, so much. And what I always tell people is they think you can just hire a rock star, that you can hire a superstar. And what I always tell people is you can't hire a superstar if you aren't a rock star yourself. And a lot of times you got to look within, because the rock stars out there are probably doing their own thing somewhere because they're good enough to it. You got to form people into rock stars. You have to be a rock star yourself, because if you can't lead the team by example, and truly where they can look up to you, and they see that example set. Well, if you're not doing it, why would they follow?
If you're not doing it, why do they follow? And you got to set that bar high. What I learned this actually at the bar industry. I was managing 100 college students. And what I learned in that industry is most people want to live up to the standard. People just don't set standard high enough for individuals. They don't set it high enough, and they don't live up to their own standards. So what I've really learned is if you set people to high standards and you hold them to it, they're gonna live up to it. People want to live up to it. And that's really how I've developed that culture. I didn't hire any superstars. You got to turn them into it. You got to be a superstar to attract that.
I think that was one of our biggest faults early on. I think I could have grown my team much better.
Yep.
And I blame all that on me.
Yep.
So when I hired, it was out of necessity. I was facing, I was losing business. People told me, they were like, we want to work with you, but you're hard to get a hold of. You're so busy. Like, we didn't want to bug you because we see how busy you are.
Yeah.
Like, I was like, guys,
how do I fix this? Yeah.
I'm like, how do I fix this? So I hired somebody, and I wasn't a leader at the time for bringing somebody on. It was, I just need somebody to do stuff.
Yeah.
And that was the biggest mistake I think I made early on, because it set the tone of, you're just here to do stuff. You're not here to help build this brand.
Yep.
And I think that was, when I went through it, she was awesome.
Yeah.
It had nothing to do with her. It was all how I trained and how I built. Like, I didn't give her much training.
Yeah.
I kid you not.
In.
We sat back to back as close as you and I are. Like, when one of us had to go to the bathroom, our chair pushed the other one in. That was how close. We were in a little cubicle area. And I told her for like the first month, I said, just sit here, watch me, and see what I do. And I was like, ask questions on what you don't understand. And she became really great over years. But what I failed in was leading her the right way, building the culture. I tried to implement it later. It just couldn't work. And ultimately, she wanted to go do something else. And she was awesome, love her, and encouraged her to go do that. But the team that I built now, the success that I see we do have and what we can achieve, all comes from what you said, building that culture. So, I mean, both my staff, they were born after 2000.
Yeah. I think my whole team is born after 2000.
Yeah, and these kids,
my whole team.
I say kids, but they're awesome. They are on another level. Because I see so many of my generation, of the last generation, that they're lazy. They want this high praise, high pay, high reward, but they don't want to put in the same level of effort. These kids that were born in the 2000s that are really hungry, they're willing to do whatever it takes to get their job done, because they feel like it's a reflection of them. And so what I try and be very present with is taking care of them, maintaining the culture, setting the vision of where we're going, building them up to their greatest potential. And I wish I would have done that in the beginning, because even though, I mean, we were making hundreds of thousands of dollars early on, but it was just, I was getting so exhausted. I didn't feel like this drive to keep going, because it felt like every day was just problems and work, and it wasn't fun. And now what we get to do is so much fun, and I get to lead people, and we're in this big growth space right now.
Which is awesome.
It's incredible, because when we're looking at bringing people on, instead of it being my decision now, it's the team's. The people fit within the team. And so one of the girls we just interviewed, she met with me initially. She reached out, I got to know her, and then she came and interviewed with the team. And the team got to sit there and ask her questions. And then after she left, we all got together, and I was like, what do you think? And they gave me their honest opinions. And I love that, because I can now rely on them to not only get their role done, build up the team and the culture, but also say, I don't think this person's a good fit, or that person should be on this team. How do we get that?
Because the team dictates that culture now, and it's going to be their decision.
So after you started hiring people, you had Josie in 24, and then did you bring on anybody else that year?
So we had some people come and go during that period of time before we kind of had more people solidify. I made some mistakes through that area. Also was growing very fast. Needed Band-Aids. Did the sub. That's how I really learned to hire no experience. To train up, do this long-term play versus short-term Band-Aids. Hired some subcontractors, people with experience, and it didn't work out too well. But worked our way through. Some people came and go, and then ended up landing on a really, really good 5. But in this industry, a big and probably with any industry is everybody says, especially in the world of photography and real estate photography, there's not a company. Everyone says, oh, I use Mike, I use Steven, I use Josie. And I really wanted to break that down super quick, because I knew I always wanted to grow a team. So that was my goal just from day one, because when you're sending in people and new people to your clients, they're gonna say, who is this? And I made that mistake of getting people that didn't have that same vision as I had, but was a good learning point. But didn't let that stop me. You move on, you keep growing, and keep learning.
So a barrier you faced was
Yeah.
you had somebody that was really great. You brought on more people. They didn't fit the mold.
Didn't fit the mold.
So how did you work through that?
Yeah.
Obviously, it puts more pressure on you and the
Yep.
one person you still have, because now you have this book of business,
Yep.
but you don't have the staff necessarily to keep up with it.
To keep up with it.
Yeah.
Right. So I think the biggest thing there, it's very easy to keep people a part of the team because they're just getting the job done, but they're not a good fit for the culture. So I knew we just had to eliminate it, and which was like so hard, right? Because you're putting, especially in this industry, I wish you put so much effort into training, and you train them up for months, and they're finally there, and you're sending them off, and they're doing the job, and then the clients start calling, they didn't like them, or they said something to the homeowner. And when you're growing, it's easy to just shake that off. But so I had to go 2 steps forward, then take 5 steps back and go back into that hole. And I had to really hustle my way out of it. And I was really working in that business at the same time as we were trying to hire and grow. It was very challenging.
Yeah.
But we had momentum. And I think that's the biggest thing that allowed us to grow is we had momentum, and I really took advantage of it. And it's hard to keep, but once you have it, if you can keep it going, it can take you to the moon. But most people just can't straddle on and take the ride. And I think that's what I did really good at in that moment. I rode it until about probably right now is where the momentum is now. I'm feeling it to start to take. We've now kind of established ourselves here.
Yeah.
Where I feel there's so many companies that, in probably in the industry, where you have that growth, and you're going, and if you can hang on, you're going to grow. But if you can't, that's where you start to lose.
Yeah.
So
when you went through that,
yeah,
what would you say? I think a big thing that a lot of people get in their own head about is, well, I don't have money to hire somebody.
Yeah.
What would you say to get them to overcome that? Because you don't put these people on salary.
No.
So what would you say, like, you don't need the money, you need X. What is that?
Yeah. So, we went through a lot of different pay structures. I think the biggest thing is I didn't know what I was doing either. So it's just not being afraid to figure it out as you go and really just set those expectations with the team. I originally started out hourly, and I realized, man, my team's working too hard. They're not making enough money. And I very quickly shifted this to a pay structure of a pay per job. And it catapulted the business, and everybody instantly got more motivated. The harder they worked, the more they made. They were in control of their income. If they weren't shooting, I didn't have to pay them. And it created this ownership culture where they felt that the better they got, the more they got rewarded into it.
Yeah.
And it just crushed for us. It took the pressure off for me as a business owner. And where I was, business loves money and loves speed. So I couldn't afford not to hire.
Yeah, you couldn't
afford not to.
If they know they're going to go out there and work for 10 hours,
Yeah.
and it doesn't matter if they shoot 1 home or 5 homes,
Right.
they're going to make the same money.
They're going to make the same money.
But now if they know I'm going to go shoot 5 homes, make 5 times the amount of money in a day, they're after it.
If me with years of experience, I can shoot 10 homes in 8 hours and you can shoot 4, why would I pay me and you the same amount of money?
Yeah.
I should pay this person much more money. And that's that pay structure that we had, and it allowed us to, one, pay our team like they deserve, and to keep great talent. So you have to pay people to stay, and that's okay. It's going to grow with your business.
Do you feel like you've had any issues doing it that way?
Honestly, it has, only if you don't set the expectations and really communicate with your team. They have to understand that. They have to know that going in. So our hiring process is now extremely thorough. They know all of this. They have a whole expectation sheet of everything. We lay it on the line, black and white. I almost convince people to not take the job. And then if they still want it, honestly, to put them through, we send them through about a 12-hour day of shooting all day. And if you leave that day and say, I still want this, then we consider you.
Yeah.
We had so many people, they go, man, I don't want anything to do with that.
Yeah.
And we move on.
That's how we kind of are with agents. I want to know, we're actually the interview I was telling you about. We interviewed this girl. She crushed it. She did awesome. And she sent me an email right afterwards. And she was like, hey, just want to say thanks so much for this opportunity. And I straight up told her, because this would be starting out to be a summer internship. And my words verbatim to her before she met with the team was, if this works out, it's going to be a lot of work. You're not going to know what you're doing in the beginning. You're going to have to learn everything super quick. It's going to be stressful, and the pay is going to suck. I need you to know that. And she was like, great, when can I meet with your team? I said, awesome. Did the interview. She emailed me afterwards, ghosted her. I want to see how much she reaches. She has a deadline of March 6th. She has to decide.
You want to see how much she's going to...
I want to see how much she wants it.
Interesting.
So the closer we get to March 6th, I'm going to see, has she reached out twice, 3 times, 4? Is she on me about like, hey, I've emailed you and you haven't responded. Please let me know.
Let me know.
I want to see how persistent you are. And that's how I can vet if people are going to be willing to put in the work. I've got a guy on my team, Adam. Adam is the most relentless guy on the phones you'll ever meet. And when I was talking with Adam, I went back and I would listen to some of his calls. This guy will get told on the phone like hello, and he's like, hey, is this so and so? And they're like, you're the 15th agent to call me today, and he's like, good, they sent the rookies before me. And the guy's like, awesome. Quit effing calling my phone. He's like, I'll quit calling you if you let me come to your house. Like this guy will not stop. That's the kind of talent that I say they will succeed in whatever business they do. Like even if he doesn't want to do real estate, I know that he's going to succeed in something because he's relentless. I think this, like you said, the skills can be built. Like when we're looking at other agents, I have to see like, what are they doing and what am I going to have to unteach them? How do I have to unlearn what they've done? And kind of that's the hurdle where we're at now. So like I'd say the biggest hurdle in my business is we're in this odd transition space where for years when I got started, it was majority I was working buyers and we did a few sellers here and there. Well, that's kind of shifted. We're majority listings now. We are so good.
Which is where you want to be.
Yes. We're so good at servicing listings. And we have buyers, and the ones that we have, we take really great care of. I cannot keep taking care of buyers though. And the thing is, I don't want the service level to drop because I can't. So we're looking for talent that will offer them the same level of service, but somebody can come in, not know what to do, and I can teach them how to do it. And once we get past this hurdle, it's going to be interesting because if I can get it to where I have somebody so great that can go out with all of my buyers and serve them at this high level, and I don't have to be there, but I can be in the back end.
You can be supporting.
I can support all from back here. That is, I think, our next hurdle. And then I look towards the future and say, okay, once that problem is solved, now the next hurdle is I need somebody on all these listings. And I've got to move to this CEO role where it's management and taking care of these people. So in your business, where do you feel like you kind of fit in your own mold? Like obviously you were everybody. You were the photographer, the booker, the accountant, and then slowly you started hiring people. So what is your current role, and then where are you looking to go next?
So my current role very recently changed, which has been exciting. I'm excited. So ever since the last few months, I was scaling while aggressively in the business. Shooting 6 homes a day, all day, going home, managing, making sure everything is good, being the creative director, really trying to train and hire at the exact same time. So it was very, very challenging, very taxing. 2024 and 2025 were very, very difficult years. Because what's funny is everybody kind of, as you're growing a business, they're like, you need to scale and get out and scale and get out and scale and get out. And I was like, well, hold on. I don't want to get out of my business. I'm 1 year in. I want to be in the thick of it. I don't want to, it's not my goal yet. So, and that's such a, obviously that's the dream as an entrepreneur. And I just think people look to hire and scale out too quickly before they were in it. If you didn't have those years where you were in it, you can't grow and scale out. So I think I needed that 2 years of just pure hustle, because now I actually have the vision of where I want to go. So where I'm at now just recently, which is really exciting, about 3 months ago, I was able to stop shooting. For the first time. It took me 2.5 years. I'm not really shooting anymore. I'm kind of the overflow. So we've built up the team now, the photographers. We built up our admin team. So right now I'm in the position more of like a creative director role. And higher, more of a CEO role, which is holding new challenges. You know, I grew up doing basically manual labor my whole life. So shooting was a very natural thing to me.
Yeah.
It was very much going into someone's home. I'm grinding. It's really easy for me to go do 5 shoots and feel really good, and you can go to sleep feeling like, man, I did a lot today.
Yeah.
But you shift that to a desk and I'm sitting there like this. It's on me. Like even today, I'm like, man, this is way harder.
Yeah.
It's way harder. I could go do 5 shoots and work for 12 hours and I could feel mentally better. But the CEO role is a completely different challenge. It's you against you. And I can now wake up and, man, that you're sitting at this computer, and if you don't send out those quotes, if you're not hiring, if you're not scheduling those team meetings, there's truly now nobody telling me to get going. And that's now my newest challenge. Is I've never really had that role, so I'm learning it. I'm figuring out how to master that role now, and it's interesting because it's way harder than I anticipated.
It's hard when you make that transition, because going to the CEO position, for me, I think the hardest part is you become less of a friend.
Yeah.
When you're in it, in the weeds with them, you know, you're joking about all this, like, oh man,
clients love you. Yeah. You're getting tips. You know, everyone's like, man, Mike's the man. I'm shooting great videos.
Yep.
And now nobody sees me. I'm picking everybody's work apart. Yeah. I'm pushing them to go better.
Well, and even for the culture,
you
can't show them the bad, negative side.
Yeah.
You've got to be on top of your game.
Yeah.
Everything's great all the time.
Yep.
I mean, and that's something I was talking to Caroline about. Was we were driving back from a wedding, and she's asking me all these questions, and I'm just dead silent.
Yeah.
And she's like, she looks over at me. It's pitch black outside. She can't really see me. And she's like, "Are you all right? Are you alive out there?" And I was like, "I can't talk right now.
I can't talk right now."
And she was like, "What's going on?" And I'm like, I can't talk right now. I was just so much in my head.
Yeah.
So in my head about, like, am I doing enough for these people?
Yep.
Am I making the right decisions?
Yeah.
And then I have these thoughts where, and it's funny because I listened to a lot of Alex Ramosi, and he says the same thing. He's like, if you feel like you don't know what you're doing, and you feel like you're behind, and you feel like you're lost, then you're exactly where you need to be. You're an entrepreneur. And I get in my head sometimes, I'm like, man, did I make the right decision? Have I given them all the stuff they need to be successful? What can I do better? How can I improve this? And I think every night these last few weeks, I've been up till like 1 or 2 in the morning of just like in working on the business, not in it.
Not in it.
And I'm just like, how do I make this so much better than I could ever imagine? And I think that's the hardest part of losing the connection with those people, because you have to be able to go to people when you're in the CEO role and say, you're not doing this right. You know, this client complained at you and you need to go apologize or you're done. You know, you don't fit this mold if that's how you're going to act. And that's a really hard position to be in. But it's important to maintain that culture like you talked about.
Yeah. And what you just said there, you know, stepping out of that role, and it's just, it's so similar. Like if you're not obsessing, like what you said there, I do the exact same things. Like you're just sitting there obsessing over, do I have enough business? Am I going to be able to pay them enough? Especially when they're on their pay structure like this. It's this pressure, you know, but I think what makes people, you know, especially successful at that role is having this relentless hunger of like, you know, we crushed it in 2025, but I'm like, I don't sit there and I don't see that success whatsoever. And it's like, it's a gift and a curse, because you know, we did millions of dollars in real estate media, at the top of our industry nationwide. And I'm not even kidding. About 2 nights ago, I don't even know why this is. I'm sitting in bed. I'm trying to sleep. I'm going through random sales objections in my head for no reason. I don't even really call people and take objections. And like, I just can't shut my brain off. I'm just completely obsessed with getting better and growing this business. And I think, you know, you can feel a similar way.
Oh, dude, it was
just ruminating.
I'm texting Carlos after 12:30 last night, like all this information that I'm thinking I'm sending him my thoughts. I lay down to go to sleep. It's 1 a.m. I'm like, I thought of something else. Text him. It's 1:30 in the morning. I text him. I could not sleep because of all these ideas that I have that I say, we can do this. You know, we can go build this, the greatest thing to ever exist. But what you said about these people are dependent on you. They're relying on you. This week alone, I lost over $100,000 in the stock market.
Jeez.
And I thought to myself, that sucks.
Yeah.
But I will make sure that my staff never has to feel that.
Yeah.
I don't want them to feel pressure.
No.
Like that was a standard that I set.
Yeah.
Just internally, I said, I will never put myself in a position financially that I'm putting my staff at risk.
Right.
If I can't reasonably hold enough finances to where they're always taken care of, unless business just quit for a year.
Yep.
Like if we didn't sell anything for a year, it's like, okay.
Yeah. Something's happening.
The world's gone south. Nobody's buying or selling anymore.
Yep.
Which, if that happened, we would be your number one buyer and seller in the country. But yeah, I mean, I don't ever want them to feel that kind of pressure. Right. I think that's okay for me to feel it as the owner, as the leader. Like, you've got to be under that pressure.
Yep.
And I think that's what I didn't expect. Maybe you can touch on that too, but I didn't expect going into this to carry this much weight on my shoulders of these people their lives are dependent on their rent, their food, their electric bill, everything. Their car pay. It's dependent on me going out and showing up every day.
Yep. And it's so true. It's, and I think there's a lot of people that start businesses and it's just them, and you have a very high paying job. But once you take that, I always tell people it's like that hurdle is like almost impossible to get over. It's one thing to start the business and you get a little business, like, that's pretty easy. But if you want to really take things to the next level, over that hump, you gotta strap in
and you got risk.
And you got risk, and you have and it's you who built it, so you have this like ownership of it, and I take things personal, and it feels like it's yours. So if anything happens, it's like you take it so personal. I'll lose a client and I'm like, I can't sleep at night. And I never even met the client. I didn't even shop for him. And I'm like, I'm thinking about it at night. I can't believe it. I'm like, why would they leave with and you're going through this stuff in your head. But I think the biggest thing I didn't expect, as you continue to grow a business, you get a target on your back.
Oh, for sure.
And you start shaking trees, and people notice, and especially in a market like Knoxville, Tennessee, when you're trying to expand your horizons and do things different, you get some haters, and some people are not going to love you. And I think that's something I really didn't expect, and I think hit me personally. And I was like, wow, people notice what you do.
But that's how you know.
You're growing.
You're doing the right thing. When people are having to diminish you to support themselves. That's how you know you're doing it right.
Yeah, and I think that's just that really hit me. I was like, wow, from people trying to sue you to, getting lawyers and all of this big high level stuff. I remember Alex Hormozy said, if you have little problems, you're probably doing a little amount of money. It's like big problems come with big revenue. So if you're having big problems, it's a good sign.
I was
something I just had to wrap my head around.
I was thinking about that because we a common objection we get is like people will, and I used to just fall into this. People would ask us like, "Oh, well, I've got somebody else to do it cheaper," and we're like, "Oh, I'm so sorry, we'll do it. Tell us the price, we'll price back." We don't do that anymore. If somebody wants me, they pay what my fee is. And I'm in this position now where it's like if I go out there and they say, "Oh, well, we appreciate everything you offer, but we were really only going to pay this fee," or "so and so will do it cheaper." I've started taking a list with me. And I say, here's a list of people that'll do it cheaper if you want to use them. Here's their name, their phone number, their company, and their email. And they'll do it cheaper.
And they're like,
well, why would you give this to me? And I'm like, because I am going to provide a service that none of these people will match. I mean, dude, it's 10:30 at night and I get a new lead that comes in. I'm texting them. I'm like, hey, thanks for filling out that form on our website. Can I call you right now? And they're like, what? Is this a bot? I'm like, no, this is Tyler Owens, the owner. I run the team. It's my team. And they're like, wow. I mean, that specific example happened in November of last year. And the mom reached out to me at night. It was like 10:30, 11 o'clock. I saw it, messaged her. I got on a phone call with her the next day. I went out to the house. You guys shot it on the 16th or the 13th. We listed on the 16th. We were sold before November ended.
Sold before,
Listed, pending,
awesome.
sold in like 2.5 weeks.
In a market where things are sitting on a market no longer than ever.
Average days was
Average
over
days
120 in that niche.
Yep.
Average.
Yeah.
And I told them, I said, this is what I'll do. This is what I'll charge. And they were like, okay, great.
Yeah.
And that's the service you get. We listed and sold 3 homes in the last 2 weeks. Listed them and sold them within 48 hours each.
Which is crazy.
And all different price ranges too. I mean, it was one was in the 300,000, a couple were in the 600,000-700,000. You know, but and then we're getting deals on them as well, like no contingencies.
Yeah.
No financing, no appraisal, cash, no inspection.
It's crazy.
And it's like, that's what we're here to provide. Like, we are going to give our very best service to try and get you this kind of outcome.
Yeah.
Not every deal is going to happen that way, but we're going to do the same thing for everybody all the time.
Yeah. Obviously, you know, I see a lot of agents and we work with a lot of successful agents, and I always ask them, and especially in going into 2026 and 2027 and moving forward, where everybody is kind of, you know, a big objection we get is they're like, hey, everyone's shooting a video now, or everyone's doing this now. And I mean, what you're telling me is just like it's always been. The agents that can actually sell are gonna always sell. And there's a lot of noise. But the agents who can really sell are going to sell homes, like you're saying. The noise can get videos and do marketing, but I say the same thing is, the people who are going to win know how to sell with the marketing. Anybody can go and buy a video, but the agents who can actually utilize it and win from it are going to leverage it. They're going to sell with it, and that's what's going to catapult these agents. And I always ask people that spend a lot of money with us, how are you using this? How are you justifying the expense? And it's always the same thing. They actually sell. They sell with it, and I think that's really what sets agents apart, is they know how to sell.
Yeah, and one thing that a lot of people say is, well, it's just the market, or you know, that home, you know, and I'm like, okay, you have to decide. If it's a good market and you're selling homes, are you selling them, or is the market selling them? If it's a bad market, are you not selling them, or is the market not selling them?
Yeah.
Like, you can't have only what benefits you. You got to just choose and then stand by it. It's like either the market sells your homes or it doesn't, or you sell your homes and you don't.
Right.
And it's like, if you're doing absolutely everything you can, that's all you can ask for.
Yeah.
Like, you can't actually force somebody to buy a home, but you can put it everywhere.
Yeah.
And we hear that objection a lot when we're going up against people. Because we'll get a lot of second-time listers as well. So, like, somebody will list their home, it won't work out, then they'll call us. Like, we just did this with a home. It was listed for 300 days.
Yeah.
They had 3 showings.
Jeez.
We listed it, sold it in 48 hours.
That's crazy.
It was wild.
Yep.
And she said, I don't know how you did that. And I said, well, tell me what your last agent did. And she was brainstorming. She was like, well, they put the sign in the yard.
Yep.
They put it on the MLS.
I don't know what else.
You know? And then I said, okay, can you tell me what we did?
Yeah.
And she said, well, you put the sign in the yard, you put it on the MLS, you put it on 100 plus websites, you did a 3D floor plan, you had AI staging built into Zillow, you did this really custom unique video, you listed it on all your socials, you put it on your own property website, like you did all these things, you ran an open house in the first week, like all this stuff, and I was like, okay, that's the difference.
Yeah.
If you want to go pay an agent, you know, half or less than that of a percent than what we're going to charge, go do it. Expect that outcome. You know, like that's where, if you're not willing to pay the best people to get the job done, don't expect the best results.
Right. Yeah. I mean, the same way where you get homeowners calling you post agent, that'll happen to us a lot of the times. They'll say, we can find somebody cheaper, and they'll go do it. And it's on the market for 100 days, they come back. Yeah. And they'll say, like, and I tell them, I was like, listen, you can go somewhere else, but a lot of times what ends up happening is you'll come, like, they go like, it just didn't do enough for it. Yeah. And they'll even come back and rehire it out. So, and it's not a huge difference either in a lot of times the price. So
I know, when you think about it, it's like a matter of a few $100s.
It's a matter of a few $100s.
So where do you feel like your industry is going? Because where I feel like mine is going is, there's about to be this big shakeup of all of these stocks and cryptocurrencies and all of these things people invest in. It is being shaken up. We're going to see this big, massive movement into real estate. On top of Knoxville local, Oak Ridge just signed 4 multi-billion-dollar deals, bringing in 3,000 to 4,000 jobs. That's just Oak Ridge, and 2 of them are with the DOE.
Yeah.
So we're going to see Knoxville real estate. I mean, it's just going to get jacked up, in my opinion. That's my opinion. Prices and the flood of people coming in.
Yeah.
So the lack of inventory.
More demand is going to
Inventory is going to go down. All this inventory that we've had been sitting, it's not great inventory, but it is inventory. It's going to start getting bought up. Value's going to rise. If the federal government still does what they say they're going to do, prices are going to decrease. We're going to see a new flood of agents get into the market, not know what they're doing, and we're going to see the same 3 to 5 year agents that get in, get out. But the ones that are in, that buckle in, they can double their book of business coming up soon.
Yeah, which is exciting. And you know, from a media perspective, you know, I think in you know, since we were kind of casting a huge net and really trying to grow. And I think looking into 2026, I kind of took not a step back, but reanalyzing who we love to work with, who we like to work with, who's really taking care of us, and really lay into those clients and form these bigger partnership. Because, you know, what I value now more is I want to get in with the brokerage at the top level. I don't want to work from the bottom up, try to one-off random agents and shoot for everybody. I want to get in with the people that we love, really take care of them, and let that trickle down. And that's really where I think, and I, you know, preparing for that, you know, doubling down on video, hiring and getting ready. Because for a company like us, we thrive in busy season because we can handle it. You know, in this industry, you got to be quick. You have to be available. If you have a listing tomorrow, I need to be able to shoot it, or you have to use someone else. And that's where we really win and thrive with busy. So I'm excited. We're hiring, we're doubling down on video, and we're locking down big time partnerships at the brokerage level to just solidify us. Because I'm looking to get just solidified in now. That's where I see myself.
The guys watching this, they are going to be 20-year-old guys for the most part, guys, girls, but what would you say to the 20-year-old that's looking to go build $1 million business that just has no idea what they're doing? What is one piece of advice that you would give to them?
So I think, you know, one piece of advice that I would give, you know, anybody looking to do it is just go all in and bet on yourself. I talk to a lot of people, and where I see people fail is their perspective of themselves and what they think they can do is going to be true. And if you're taught or you believe that you can't do it, you know, it's going to be true. So really go all in on yourself, start the business. And it is incredible what 2 years or even 1 year, 365 days, if you really lock in, do what you say you're going to do, build the relationships and be bold, you can do incredible things.
I would add on to that, and I would just say, focus on other people. Make other people the subject of the conversation. Don't talk about yourself, but talk about them. And then 2, no matter what, just do not give up. If you believe so deeply in something, you can go get it, you can achieve it. And we will catch you guys next time on the vlog. Appreciate you, bro.
That's wraps.
Thank you for doing that.
Yeah.